Hey there, this is Natalie, and if you're watching this when it first went up, yesterday saw the release of the official episode 1 of Mushoku Tensei Season 2, following on from last week's episode 0, which caught us up on Sylphie. What I thought it would be good to do is to take a look at where all of the various characters are at the start of Season 2, as a kind of refresher on where things left off for the now pretty large cast at the end of Season 1. What I want to do here is just give a reminder of where everyone is and what their current situations are as of the start of Season 1, rather than recapping literally everything that happened, just so you can watch Season 2 with a refreshed picture of where everything was left, especially given the current arc focuses on Rudy and some new characters, so it can be easy to forget what everyone else is doing at this time. If you're watching the new season as it releases, please make sure you check out the weekly post-episode live streams I'm doing with Espiritu. The first for episode 0 was on his channel, which I'll link to in the description, and we'll be alternating hosting them between my channel and his. So last night we were live on my channel, and you can still watch either of those episodes back. Please subscribe to us both to make sure you don't miss any of these streams. And as has become customary in my recent videos, I do still have to do a spot of embarrassing e-begging because I'm still in a really bad financial situation for reasons I've explained in various channel update videos, so won't go into here. But if you can afford it and want to help, a link to my Ko-fi is in the description. I'm really hoping that all the Mushoku Tensei content I have coming up will help pull me out of the hole, but things are currently still really bad. And I'm not young enough to get a sugar daddy, so I can't tell you how grateful I am to my community for helping me. Hopefully the stuff I have coming up throughout Season 2 and beyond will be worth your support. So, in Season 1, we saw Rudeus reborn into another world, to new parents Zenith and Paul. He studied magic, gained Roxy as a tutor, Sylphiette as his first proper friend, and Norn and Aisha as baby sisters, before being sent away to teach Eris, along with Ghislaine. I'm rushing through this early stuff as, like I said, what I want to focus on is where everyone is at the end of the first season. After his 10th birthday party, Eris gives him a gift of a magic staff, which they and Ghislaine go out to an empty space to test out. This is when the series' first turning point happens, seeing everyone in the entire region teleported randomly around the world, and their towns turned to empty wastelands. Rudeus and Eris were touching at the time, and so were teleported together. They met Ruijerd and set up an adventuring party. Rudeus also at this point started to be contacted by Hitagami in his dreams, and following his advice. The advice of the strange man god leads to him meeting Kishirika and getting his demon eye of foresight. Meanwhile, Roxy, who was in another kingdom teaching the prince Pax, so was not displaced, and other former members of Paul and Zenith's old party, Elinalise and Talhand, were searching for Rudeus and other people lost in the incident, after seeing a post Paul had put up in all of the adventurers' guilds. Despite some near misses, they never run into Rudeus and his new party, which is known as Dead End. Rudeus gets involved in a smuggling operation while trying to make for a way for Ruijerd to cross the sea on a boat, despite his race, the Superd, being widely hated. This results in him trying to free some Beast Tribe children who are being trafficked, but also in him being falsely arrested by the Beast Tribe. Here he meets Gisu, who was also a member of Paul's old party. After this is resolved, they have to stay in the Beast Village for a while due to weather conditions, and they get to know Ghislaine's family, among other key people in that tribe, and of course the Sacred Beast. When they leave and head to Milishon, Rudeus is unexpectedly reunited with Paul, and a big misunderstanding ensues. With Gisu intervening, however, they make up, though Rudeus's little sister Norn, who was teleported with Paul, is too young to understand, and currently still hates Rudeus for bullying her dad. Rudeus, Eris and Ruijerd go on to the Shirone Kingdom, due to advice Rudeus receives from Hitagami. Here he finds Aisha and learns where Lilia is being held. Roxy's former student, Pax, has her, and believes he can use Lilia and Rudeus as a way to lure in Roxy, who he's obsessed with. He captures Rudeus and contains him using barrier magic. Now, Rudeus would probably have been okay anyway, because Pax's plan was pretty stupid and Eris and Ruijerd were on their way. But instead, Rudeus is rescued by Pax's brother Zanoba, who is obsessed with dolls and was a big fan of the figurines that Rudeus makes using his earth magic. Zanoba was then exiled to study in another country, and this is something that'll come up again in Season 2. After rescuing Lilia and reuniting her with Aisha, they head back to join Paul and Norn in Milishon, so that's where they're heading going into Season 2. Eris, Rudeus and Ruijerd continue back on to Eris's old home, even though they know now from Paul not to expect much to be left there. On the way, however, they encounter Orsted and his companion, a masked girl named Nanahoshi. Orsted's presence has the effect of terrifying everyone except Rudeus, but Eris and Ruijerd still try to fight. Orsted says some strange things, as if he knows about all of them except Rudeus. He attacks Rudeus, and Rudeus thinks he's died, having an in-depth conversation with Hitagami, where he learns about things like why the superb race are hated. However, Orsted heals him, because Nanahoshi tells him he may be useful. After this traumatic experience, Ruijerd leaves the party, declaring Eris to be an adult and saying he wants to look for other surviving members of his tribe. He'll first head to Milishon, where Paul is, and that's where he'll be the next time we see him. Eris and Rudeus find that Ghislaine has also made it back, and if you want to know where she's been this whole time, as I don't think that will ever be shown in the anime, I have a video explaining it, plus a reading of the chapter about what happened to her on my readings playlist. Eris finds out that her parents died in the incident, Ghislaine having found their bodies, and that her grandfather Sauros was executed after having to take responsibility for what happened to his lands. We actually saw this execution in the anime, though in the light novels this wasn't revealed until Eris finds out about it here. Eris and Rudeus spend the night together, and while she still actually does want to have his kittens, Eris believes she isn't strong enough to stand by his side yet. Being a bad communicator, she leaves him a vague note, cuts off her hair, and takes off before he wakes up. She renounces her noble family name and travels with Ghislaine to train with Ghislaine's former master, the Sword God, at a location called the Sword Sanctum, so that's where they're heading going into Season 2. Rudeus is extremely depressed by Eris leaving, and her intentions didn't come across at all in her note, so he simply feels abandoned by her. All he has left as a motivation to keep going is to search for Zenith, who's still missing. He heads north, with his intention being to build a reputation among adventurers and to spread the message as much as he can to try to find information about Zenith. So that's what he's setting out to do as Season 2 begins, as we saw in yesterday's episode. However, Roxy, Elinalise and Talhand have continued to travel around in search of information too, and as we saw in the last episode of Season 1, Roxy finds out from Kishirika that Zenith is trapped in a particular labyrinth. Their party splits up here, with Roxy and Talhand going to Milishon to give this information to Paul so that they can team up and go and rescue Zenith, and Elinalise continuing to search for Rudy so she can tell him that Zenith's location is now known and Paul's party are all handling it. So that's where all the major characters are going into Season 2, minus Sylphie, whose whereabouts weren't shown in Season 1 after the mass teleportation incident, but which were shown in Episode 0. It's also worth mentioning Cliff, the boy introduced in the OVA. He was sent away for his own safety to study abroad at the end of the OVA, and that's going to come up again. Orsted and Nanahoshi's locations are unknown at the end of Season 1, so I'm not including them in the recap, but if you want to know more, you can check out my spoiler videos about those two characters. And that's really where things stand. Season 2 picks right up where Season 1 left off, so I hope this is a reasonable reminder of where all the key people are and what they're doing as we begin to rejoin them all in the anime. Are you liking Season 2 so far? Let me know in the comments. Remember to make sure you're subscribed to both this channel and Espiritu's channel for the live streams, which are every Sunday, a couple of hours after the episode drops on Crunchyroll, and for lots more Mushoku Tensei content throughout the season. Thank you as always to my supporters on Patreon, and also to those of you who have helped out with my hellish financial situation by donating via Ko-fi. I only show the Patreon supporters on screen, as Ko-fi sometimes shows me people's real names, and I don't expect everyone wants those in videos. But trust me when I say your support has literally been a lifesaver during these difficult times for me, and I love you all. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon for more discussion on Mushoku Tensei.